The Reaction Plan Manager++ software solution eliminates operator confusion by converting part measurement data into process control information in real time. It's designed to be used on the shop floor by machine operators to guide them through the process of adjusting their machine to prevent machine downtime. The Reaction Plan Manager++ software solution does not provide a history of events. What happened last shift? Did the operator measure his parts and adjust his machine as outlined in the reaction plan? Based on a history, are there any features that need attention by engineering? The Reaction Plan Manager++ shop floor view software is used by management and engineering to answer these types of questions. It displays current process status information and provides tools to view a history of events with data analytics. In this video, you will learn how to set up the Reaction Plan Manager++ software solution to store data to a database. You will also learn how to configure the Reaction Plan Manager++ shop floor view software to use the collected data. The data is stored in two different ways. The software supports multi-user client-server applications by storing data to Microsoft SQL Server. For single-user local applications, data is stored in SQLite database files. The first step in setting up the software is to determine the type of data storage that you need. Do you need the Microsoft SQL Server, or can you just use the SQLite files? When to use Microsoft SQL Server. When multiple copies of RPM++ is sending data to a single database. For example, you've got 3 machines sending data to the same database. Multiple clients or copies of Reaction Plan Manager++ shop floor view can connect to a single database. This requires an instance of Microsoft SQL Server running somewhere. It could be on your network, could be on your local machine. The software was tested using Microsoft SQL Server version 2019. You could use the Express version or the professional version. It's whatever you choose. Contact IT for assistance. The IT department will be needed to help you set this up so you have the proper privileges and can access the database properly. When to use a file-based system. When only one copy of RPM++ is sending data to a single database. You can have multiple clients or copies of Reaction Plan Manager++ shop floor view connecting to a single database file. The second step is to create a database and configure RPM++. The Reaction Plan Manager++ software provides a tool to create the database and turn on data collection. Open the Reaction Plan Manager++ software. Choose the About button. Then select Settings button to access the settings window. You then choose the Database tab in the settings window. Then check Send Data to the Database. Enter the location name. The location name uniquely identifies the copy of Reaction Plan Manager++. This is where the data is coming from. Data can be filtered by the location name in the Reaction Plan Manager++ shop floor view software. Based on your data collection needs, choose the storage type. If the storage type is file-based, use the Browse button to find a directory location and create a database file. Choose the Database Version button to see what version you're currently running. Press the Save button to save your changes. RPM++ is now configured to send data to the database. So at this point, you're ready to go. You can start measuring parts, and every single time data is analyzed, not only will it be displayed to the operator on the shop floor, but it'll also be stored to the database. If the storage type is MS Microsoft SQL Server, contact IT department for assistance. If the database already exists, enter the server name and database name with the appropriate credentials. The IT department will supply this information. Press the Save button to save the changes. RPM++ is now configured to send data to the database. So like before, if the database was already set up, you can just reference that database name and just save it. And Reaction Plan Manager is set up and ready to go. And again, as you measure parts, the data will be analyzed and saved to the database. If the database does not exist, choose the Create Database button. To create the database in Microsoft SQL Server, enter the server name and the database name. Enter the appropriate credentials. Either check Use Windows Authentication or enter a username and password. The user account must be a system administrator or a database owner. The account has to have privileges to be able to create the database. Press the Create Database Now button to create the database. A message will appear letting you know if the database was successfully created. When done, return to the settings page and complete the form for the account that you want to actually use to send the data to the database. All right, before we get into how to set up the shop floor view, I want to actually demonstrate how to set up the data in Reaction Plan Manager++. So we have Reaction Plan Manager++ running here on the left, and we have the Reaction Plan Manager++ shop floor view running on the right. And down below we've got Training CMM. So the first step to configure the software is to decide what database you want to set up. I'm going to demonstrate how to set up both the file-based and the Microsoft SQL Server databases. So I'm going to click on the About button, then click on the Settings button. This brings up the Settings window. Then I'm going to choose the Database tab. And here you can see I've got the Send Data to Database. Now, once you check this, this will fill out this portion of the window. And then you just answer the questions accordingly. So the first thing I need to enter is the location name. I'm just going to say BQS Office. This would be the name associated with this copy of Reaction Plan Manager++. Remember, this name uniquely identifies this copy, so I can use that information in the shop floor view application to filter the data. The next thing to choose is the storage type. You've got file-based and MS SQL Server. You just choose the appropriate storage type. I'm going to set up the file-based system first. So here you'll click on the Browse button and then find a directory location. It could be a network location, it could be a local drive, and then you'll give it a name. I'll just call it status information. And then you save it. And I can check the version by clicking on the database version. You don't really need to. If the version pops up, that tells you the file was created and it's there. Now it's just simply a matter of saving the configuration and then clicking the Done button. And now Reaction Plan Manager is ready to go. And as I run parts, the data is going to be stored to that data file. It'll be displayed and it'll also be stored to the data file. So let's go ahead and run a couple of parts just to put some data into the database. I'm going to run the RPM++ basic example. So the data was processed, a report displayed, and that data was stored to the database. Now there's nothing displayed in the Reaction Plan Manager ++ shop floor view because we've not done anything with that software yet. I just want to get the data into the database. So let's run another part. I'll run the turning process. And we'll run that a couple of times. Maybe we'll run one more. We'll run the simple RPM++ simple layout. So I've ran 3 different part programs. One of them I ran a couple of times. So we've got data in the database. All right, that's how you set up for the file-based database. Now let's set up for the SQL Server. I'll click on the About button, click on the Settings button, go to the database page. Now I'm already sending data to the database. Now I just have to change the storage type and fill out the information. I'll go to MS SQL Server. Here I need to enter in the server name, the database name, and the credentials. So I'm going to pick a server and a database name. Now, I know this database doesn't exist, but I'm setting it up to send the data to this database anyway. If I click on Check Connection, that'll tell you if it's going to work or not. And it's going to take a little bit of time because it's going to eventually time out. Then you'll get this error message. Unable to connect to server. Check parameters and try again. Cannot open database. RPM shop floor example requested by the login. The login failed. Login failed for user main-pc /Larry. So this is where you'll receive the error messages at the bottom. It didn't work. So we have to create the database. I'll click on the Create Database button and fill out this information. I'll give it the database name. I'll give it the server name. I know this is on my local computer, so I'll just check Use Windows Authentication. Here is where you need to get the IT department to help you because they'll give you this information and they'll set this up for you. I'm going to click on Create Database now. The database version 1 was successfully created. So it's done. It's ready to go. The database is in the SQL Server, on the SQL Server. I can click on the Done button. Now if I check the connection, it worked. I'll save the configuration. It's done. So I'll click on Done. Now I can start running parts. So let's go ahead and we'll run the same parts. I'll run this a couple times. Run the basic one a couple times. Oh, I'll go ahead and accept the data. And now I'll run the turning process a couple times. So that's all you have to do to configure the Reaction Plan Manager ++ software to store data to the database. Now we're ready to set up the Reaction Plan Manager ++ shop floor view. Let's go back to our PowerPoint presentation and continue on. So I'll go ahead and start the presentation from step 3. So step 3 is you need to add the connections to the RPM++ shop floor view. You'll open the Reaction Manager ++ shop floor view application, then press the Show Connections button. This will display the connections that you currently have. Right now we don't have any, so it's blank. Then you select the green button, the green plus button, to add a connection. When you do that, a window will pop up. An Add New DB Connection window will pop up. You'll choose the storage type to the database you are connecting to. You'll enter the name of the connection. The name is used to identify the connection. This is different than the location name that's in Reaction Plan Manager++. This is a name that you'll use inside Reaction Plan Manager++ shop floor view to identify the connection. You'll complete the rest of the form based on the settings used to set the database in Reaction Plan Manager++. Press the Add button to add the connection. Repeat the process for each database connection. So if I've got 5 different files out there, database files, I can add a connection to each one of them. Or if I've got multiple, a combination of database files and maybe some SQL Server connections, I can have several different combinations if you want. It's just a matter of how you. It's just a matter of what databases you want to connect to. After you're done, you'll see that you'll have some connections in the list. The added connections will appear in the connections list. A tab for each Reaction Plan Manager++ database connection will appear containing the collected data. So for every connection, you will have a tab, and contained within the tab will be the data that's collected from Reaction Plan Manager++. So now let's walk through the process of setting up the shop floor view. From the Reaction Plan Manager++ shop floor view, first thing I'll do is click on the Show Connections button. I'll then press on the plus button, the green plus button, to add a database connection. Now I know I have 2 connections out there. The first one we'll set up is the file-based database file. So I'll call this connection example 1, and I will choose the storage type is file based. I'll put in the name that I want to display for the connection. Then I'll click on the Browse button, and then I will select the database file. Now the database file is called status info. I'll click on status info, open it. I'll check the version just to be sure it's working okay, and it is. So then I'll click on the Add button. That added connection 1 here. If I click on this, you can see here are the 3 different part programs that we ran. So it's connected and it's working. Let's add the other connection for the SQL Server. Click on the plus button again. This time I'll choose MS SQL Server. I'll fill out this information. Make it a Windows authentication. I'll call this connection example 2. I'll check the connection. It's working. I'll click on add, and now I've got both connections working. So I can just click on either one of these to actually view the data for that particular connection. So now I know that RPM right now is set up to store the data to the SQL Server. So let's go ahead and we'll run one more part just so you can see what it looks like. I'll pick simple hole diameter. Now the data was displayed in Reaction Play Manager++. The data was saved. However, you don't see it here in the Reaction Play Manager++ shop floor view because it's not going to automatically update its display. You need to click on the refresh button and you'll see that that new data was now added. So periodically you have to hit the refresh button to actually view the data. So that really is all there is to it. Once you have it done, it's ready to go and you just use the software. There'll be other videos which get into the actual functionality of how to use the Reaction Play Manager++ shop floor view. So visit the website and go to the support page to access those videos.